Hello, I'm Diana Solomon Glover. When asked to write the libretto for what becomes The Lord of Cries, Mark Adamus thought, what makes an opera about Dracula better than silence? For him, the themes seem to be played cards: the sexually assertive woman, the foreigner, the stranger. Fears society seems to have reckoned with and moved beyond. Do we need to see these characters again? Do we need to revisit these ideas? Do they resonate now? Well, there's clearly something about Dracula that keeps us coming back. By Adamus' estimation, there's more to explore about the anxiety created by the controls religion and social constructs place on us to repress unfettered sexuality and prescribe sexual identity. And then there's how that valve gets released. Adamus' libretto refreshes the Bram Stoker story by superimposing onto it Euripides' ancient tale of Dionysus' revenge upon those who refuse to recognize his godliness and deal with their own human nature. You may want to brush up on your Greek tragedies. Adamus' treatment is intriguing, and one has only to swipe through one's social media or open one's news app for evidence of its relevance. Dionysus, who once admonished ancient Thebes to acknowledge its baser instincts, lest it lose all control over its urges, feels compelled to repeat that warning to repressive Victorian England. However, Dionysus recognizes that humans have replaced his mercurial kind with a rigid monotheism that won't entertain a half-human, half-god. So a more relatable persona is called for. Dionysus settles on Dracula. In Adamus' telling, Dionysus is a shapeshifter, like Dracula, and appears in the opera as the god himself, a wolf prince, and as an erotic, gender non-conforming stranger. Furthermore, Dionysus is sung by a countertenor, which itself is an otherworldly, non-binary sound that seduces the ear but confuses the eye. Ask for what you want. Ask it in, is his simple request. But when balancing on the knife edge of immorality, that's a dangerous idea. And Stoker's characters, all of them precariously conflicted between duty and taboo, stand to pay dearly for any lapse. There is a plague upon the city of London. Young women drawn from their beds at night wander and return half enchanted with strange wounds on their necks. The situation frightens Lord Mayor Seward to death even before the opera begins, which forces the city into the hands of his son, John Seward, keeper of the asylum. It's his job to lock down the crazy, and I don't just mean the insane. Seward is oppressive, patriarchal domination of anything that inflames passion or threatens the power structure. So he throws the bewitched maidens into the asylum, which upsets the liberals. And when Dionysus, a foreigner, appears with a deed of claim to Carfax Abbey, site of an ancient temple which hosted savage but cathartic religious rites before Christians replaced it with a church, Seward sends Jonathan Harker to cheat him out of it. Meanwhile, Seward, the keeper of order and protector of morality, is having a very hard time tamping down his lust for Harker's wife, Lucy. Repress, restrain, he orders himself. But the stranger, the other nature, cannot be ignored. Dionysus' posse. Yes, he has a posse. 3 irresistibly lethal sisters warn the Lord of Cries, deny him not his place. Acknowledge his right to the property and concede to the beast within. Ask for what you want. Ask it in. They dare Harker. Harker is no match. He returns, mind incurably shattered, forever consigned to the asylum. Lucy, now the wife of an invalid, is devastated, but hides it and her mutual attraction to Seward. In deference to duty and honor, she vows to remain steadfastly by Harker's side until she is thrice visited by the Wolf Prince, and losing herself to him, she then attempts to entice Seward. Van Helsing's clear vision sees past all these social constructs, but more to the point, notices that the stranger has no reflection in the mirror. Intuiting what is to come, he implores Seward to yield to Dionysus' demands. Seward refuses, of course, and what follows is not only the collapse of social order without, but moral compass within. He eventually loses all control over his own appetites, and in a blind hysteria to rid himself and the city of what he believes to be the source of their ruin, beheads not Dionysus, but Lucy, the seat of his desire. The Lord of Cries is about what happens when our true nature is swallowed so far down it comes up as psychosis. It's about the internal tug of war between what's proper and what scratches the itch, the shameful secret that causes uncontrollable urges. It's what happens when we lie to ourselves and others about that which is too hideous to claim. Now, the old folks will say, what don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. In one way or another, the truth prevails. It always will. And when it does, we are struck dumb, gaping at the monster we created. The beast implores, ask for what you want. Ask it in. Lock them in stone, bind them in steel is Seward's answer. Convinced in his arrogance, he can impound any ugly assault to Victorian propriety. But the beast demands its place. It has the deed, after all, proof of belonging. But society says, no, you don't, even if this land was yours before us. The church says, no, you don't. You don't believe what I believe. Tradition says, no, you don't. Even though your sacrifice built the very foundation upon which I raise my objection, you shall never belong. You shall forever be untouchable, other. I watched the latest installment of a television show about a dystopian society run by men who moralize their evil as God's plan to restore fertility to a land they themselves laid barren. In this episode, women who had been stripped of their humanity in every unspeakable way and forced by circumstances of their captivity to disassociate from their trauma, set upon one of the high commanders. In the same manner, the frenzied Maenads rip apart the body of the king of Thebes, and John Seward, in confused ecstasy, mistakes his Lucy for Dionysus and parades her severed head as a trophy. These handmaidens chase and beat the commander to death with the rage of their pain. They hang what's left of him from the wall, a warning to others of judgment yet to be meted. The chorus ends Adamus' story. The lure of frenzy, the need for ecstasy, the lure of hunger, the need for heat. These are not gentle, are not tender, are not consoling, only complete. Behold the error. Behold the danger of thwarting passion, naming it sin. You may assuage the priest without, but not the beast within. You shall enrage the beast within. Ghostly images of figures that have followed in Seward's ruinous path flash on the palace of mirrors. Are they anti-gay politicians being led from their boyfriends' meth dens? Jews who collaborated with the Third Reich? They could easily be men ripping their illegitimate babies from enslaved mothers. Indigenous people driven from the richness of their ancestral homelands. Strange fruit picnics. Issei, Nisei Sensei, internment. Priestly pedophilia. Children in cages. January 6th, 2021. And he shall crush your noble towers. He shall break your silver gates, destroy your every fantasy of grace. Lest you acknowledge that you know him and render what you owe him and deny him not. Deny him not. Deny him not.